Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today, we're going to continue our examination of Epic Illustrated Magazine. We're already up to number 23, April 1984. We start off with a very nice painted cover by John Bolton, illustrating his character, Marada the She-Wolf, which has been continuing since the last issue. Let's crack this open. Ads, contents page. Oh, this looks like bullshit. Make up to $275 or more per week as a mailing list protection agent. That sounds like total scam. Overview about the creators. And here we go. This Marada the She-Wolf episode, written by Chris Claremont and drawn and painted by John Bolton once again. I don't know if it's my imagination, but these colors just seem so much better. They were amazing. These are like Maxfield Parrish, N.C. Wyeth, beautiful this episode. Just so nice, these colors. When we left off, Marada's been hanging out with this Jafar character, this sorcerer. And they're in love. And she's having second thoughts because she's like, I'm a warrior. I shouldn't have this pampered lifestyle. She likes it, but she's like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Then all of a sudden this demon attacks. I love that. The body language of the demon. And he's from the Mabdara. He's the demon that raped Marada years ago. It's, his buddies, this clan of demons, they're still, after her. Because she killed that demon that raped her. I love this, how John Bolton, in certain panels, during fight sequences, will just capture the perfect moment, dynamic moment. Like, this just, he has a certain way of doing that. It's really great. Sometimes it's a little, stilted? Just not lively, his cartooning, but then sometimes he really just captures this dynamic moment. So this demon's trying to kill her, and Marada's pretty kick-ass. She gets the upper hand and kills the demon. So she realizes that Jafar he's been selling her out. He's selling her out to the demons, his overlords. And he's basically just saying, yeah, you're right. He doesn't lie about it. So she runs away from him, kicks him in the nuts and runs. And then Jafar consults with his demonic overlord. And look at the colors here. This shit gets amazing. I love this kind of it's like melted paint, it looks like. It gives this otherworldly effect. Like this, as if this demon was from another dimension. He's like colored differently and just beautiful watercolors here. So much great coloring on these pages. Purples and blues. I like how this mist is fully painted, so it does look like it's from, not this reality, which is more just, line art. So Jafar and the demon kind of make a bet almost. Like, it's like, if I get Marada first, you're going to give me, the demon offers him all this power. But if he fails, they're going to send his soul to hell along with Marada. So Marada's running from this killer mist here. And then the demons show up. Look at these guys. Pretty scary looking. Once again, look at these colors. This is so gorgeous. This, it's Chris Claremont's writing is pretty whatever. It's a pretty lunk-headed story. But this comic is just so great just for the art. Excuse me. So these demons are attacking her. They're landing blows. She can feel them, but they're not killing her. It's almost like this sorceress attack. And they're trying to trick her. as demons will do. And one of them pierces her with this lance, this magical lance, and she falls into the ocean. Sorry to sound like a magpie or something, but his colors are just so luscious to me. They look so good. So it continues on page 92. Let's jump ahead. And when she washes up on the beach, she sees Jafar. And Jafar and her fight, have a sword fight. He's, very villainous. And he looks like he kills Marada. And he takes her dead body and gives it to the demons. Yeah, this panel, that crazy, like melted paint look, it's amazing. So the demons take Marada and they're very pleased and they're going to give Jafar all this power. So then Jafar walks back to his chambers and Marada's there, safe and sound. So he was basically doing this whole scam against the demons where he couldn't tell Marada's plan because the demons might have plucked the thought out of her head. So he couldn't tell her. He had to act like he was the villain the whole time. But he basically made a simulacrum of, I don't know how to say that word still, simulacrum of Marada to give to the demons. So they were satisfied. But then the real Marada is safe here and unharmed. And he basically says, I couldn't tell you. I really love you. I want you to stay. She kind of loves him too, but she's like, nah, I got to get back to my stepdaughter, Ari, But I'll always, miss you. I'll miss you. So he zaps her back to Ari on that pirate ship where we left off like an issue or two ago. And they reunite and they're heading home. Happy ending. So that's the end of Marada. At least this one. Actually, I think that's the last appearance of Marada in Epic Illustrated. So now here we have the penultimate episode of Generation Zero by Pepe Moreno. We start off at Sea Haven, one of the few good places left after the apocalypse. And Juan Falcone and his two friends are back there. And they're basically, they know that the evil army is going to attack. The fascist army is going to attack any day now, en masse. So they got to train everybody, get ready. So we just see kind of these interludes of training. Juan is reunited with Liana, his love. She's now the ruler of the city. And the videotape that Juan found last episode, he can finally watch it. It's his father, Victor. And his father is basically saying, for now, I just want to explore space. I want to find life beyond this wounded Earth in space. But this is very confusing because as far as we've thought so far, that mirrored helmet evil commander of the evil army, that's Victor Falcone, his father. So maybe it's the same guy. Maybe he went from this and became that guy. We'll find out, I imagine. So still training, getting ready for the attack. Everyone's wondering why it's taking so long. And then finally it happens. And there's a big explosion in Juan and Liana's chamber. And she's like mortally wounded, it looks like. She doesn't look good. And the attack is underway. This is some pretty epic stuff. No pun intended. Here we see the commander. They call him Falcone. So hopefully we'll find out the whole mystery next issue because that's the last chapter. Here we have Ventriloquist by Zoran Vanjaka. That's the writer-artist who did the Getty and Plexus stories that I like so much. There's been 2 so far in Epic. Those were in full color, kind of like cyberpunk comics. This is a very different thing. It's kind of like a barbarian comic, very Conan. And it's in black and white, of course. And his art looks so different in black and white. Like, I almost wouldn't even realize that that's the same artist. He uses very chunky lines. It's I like the art. It's accomplished. This guy can draw, but it's also kind of wonky. Some of the faces. It reminds me of like underground comics a lot. This the way it's drawn. So we see this barbarian ride into this town and this or city, and the city is like overrun and kind of ruled by these witch hunters. They're just running around burning women at the stake, setting up all these horrible rules, repressive rules. Everyone has to kind of kowtow to them. So he goes to this tavern, and at the tavern they have entertainment. It's a ventriloquist. And everyone's loving it, but then the witch finders come in, and they're like, "We've warned you, fooling around with the doll was black magic." So that's how fanatical these guys are. They think even a ventriloquist dummy is like some kind of blasphemous, sorcery. Look at that face. That's very underground comics and or bad artist. So they spill our hero's wine, the cool barbarian, and he just starts attacking them. Starts a big brawl in the inn. And the ventriloquist is like, "Please save my doll." So the barbarian does. He runs off, and they all get on a horse and ride off. But one of the soldiers of the witchfinders shoots an arrow right into the back of the ventriloquist. The barbarian doesn't even know that happened until they, a while later they stop. He says, "Oh, the ventriloquist is dead." And then all of a sudden the dummy says, "Let me see what's the matter with them." And the barbarian's like, "Stay away from me, you diabolic creature." And he says, "Cool it, man. This is only a disguise." Once these stupid religious guys took over in the revolution 20 years ago, I was this like brilliant constructor dwarf. And, in this new regime, any kind of technology was looked upon as, blasphemy or, not cool. So this was his little thing. To escape notice, he built this robot, and that's what the ventriloquist is. So last panel, he's fixing it. Kind of cute story. I kind of like it. Here we have a fourth chapter of Sacred and the Profane. Once again, starting with Sister Mariana's diary entries. She's realized that she's been weak, worrying about all the silly stuff. Now that the ship is under alien attack and really damaged, she realizes that she's got to be strong and, takes strength from her faith. Once again, written by Dean Motter and beautifully drawn by Ken Stacy. I just love looking at this stuff, just the richness of it. He's got such a weird little style. I'm more impressed by the painting than the art. I like Ken Stacy, kind of, but it's not my favorite art style, but just the way he paints these things, it looks so nice. So the ship is totally damaged from all the attacks. This giant tower falls due to structural damage. It also happens to be right where all the electricity is located. So the gravity goes off for a little. Everything's at just like, bare bones power. And there's still aliens on the ship. They're still right next to this alien ship that kind of has them trapped. Half the ship is fucked up. They're like really in a bad way. Here we see the organist playing his organ, and yeah, there's the alien ship just looming over the Earth ship. I like this, just these little panels of all the main characters. Different colors, each one. It's nice graphic design. Joshua, the warlike crusader, is still arguing with his boss. The guy looks like John Lennon. and why this Eric, the business guy of the crusade, he's talking to the organist, and all of a sudden these tentacles come down, and one of the aliens has got the organist, and Joshua shoots him, and shoots the alien, of course. And Eric yells at him. He's like, "We have to establish communication with these creatures." And of course, Joshua's just like, "Guys, I think we know what they're communicating. They want to eradicate us. They just keep attacking us and killing us." So we'll see what happens next issue. Here we have this kind of portfolio of this like sci-fi fan artist named Pat Ortega. And it's called Bestiary. And she's like one of those, artists that, makes these aliens that could kind of work. Like, she obviously knows her biology and she knows animal anatomy. So she makes these alien creatures that, aren't just silly, like Basil Wolverton monsters or, cartoony monsters. They could work in a biological way. It's like Leonardo da Vinci's notes here, showing off this weird creature that never existed. Kind of a waste of some pages, I think. This is nice. We get to see more of Von Bodé's lost pencils that his son Mark Bodé found, and he inked and colored them. A few issues ago, we saw the Yellow Hat comics. That was the first example of that. It was the same deal. And so now he actually found some real Cheech Wizards comics that were never, they're written and drawn. So it's definitely Von Bodé. But his son does a great job, inking and coloring it. Well, the colors are a little monotonous to me, but... And it's just, if you know Cheech Wizard, he's that obnoxious kind of dick. It was such a weird design, though. That's like Von Bodé's genius. It's a hat with two legs coming out of it. You never see his face. Has no arms. But Von Bodé, the way he draws his cartooning is so good that he's animated, and you believe that he's this guy. He's kind of an asshole. And basically, almost all the Cheech Wizards comics, he's a charlatan. He's not really a magician, but he's convinced everyone he is. So he always has these people like acolytes and, people trying to toady up to him. And he treats them like shit because he's an asshole. So if you read one Cheech Wizard, they're all kind of like that. It's just nice seeing Von Bodé. This stuff would have just been in in an attic somewhere if his son didn't find it and finish it up. It's nice. I like this rabbit. Man, he was just a master cartoonist. So this is an interesting story. So right around this time, 1984, Warren Comics had just gone out of business. So Epic acquired this story that they never got to publish. It's written by Bill Dubay, long-term Warren editor-writer, and drawn by Lee Elias, a golden age cartoonist. So even in the 80s, he was still drawing pretty good. I mean, he's got the illustrative techniques down. I mean, just shading, and this is a really nice illustration. And it's a story about this old guy, Stefan, whose just whole life is just full of bitterness, and he has no joy because he lived through the Nazi concentration camps in World War II. And we see him kind of in a park, kind of looking at this family, and he's kind of following them. We don't know why yet. I think I missed a page. Nope. So he's got a gun, we find out. And then he's at a fortune teller's. And she knows why he's there. He wants to see his dead daughter. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I can't recall her. Her soul is no longer within the spiritual stream. She's been born again. She's been reincarnated." And she also tells him that, unfortunately, this new life will not be a very happy one. Her future will bring her infinite suffering. And she tells him that there's also a reincarnation of a man who's going to cause untold suffering to not just the girl, but millions of people due to their insanity. And it's Hitler. So she's also telling him that Hitler has returned, has reincarnated. And so now we flash back to Nazi Germany. And Stefan is Catholic, and his family's Catholic. So at first, they're just rounding up the Jews, and he doesn't say anything because he doesn't want to endanger his family. He wants to lay low. Right here, we see all these horrible atrocities of the Nazis. But then pretty soon, the Nazis get emboldened. They've locked up all the Jews. Now they start going for the Catholics. Even though the Pope made a deal with Hitler within Germany, of course, Hitler doesn't care. And so now the Catholics are getting persecuted. And this is just like horrible travesty after travesty in this comic. Just showing these nuns being raped, being shot in pits, in trenches. And so his family gets rounded up in a camp, Stefan, his wife and daughter. And he sees one of these Nazis raping the friend of his daughter. She's a little girl. So he goes to do something, and they conk him in the head. Then they grab his wife. And when they're all done, he runs in. His wife was raped. They even raped his daughter, who was 8 or something. And they're stuck in this concentration camp. And then finally, obviously the girl is just in shock. I mean, an 8-year-old, her brain snapped basically. So Stefan picks up a brick and bashes her head in, like a mercy killing. He's like, all that's going to happen is more horrible things to her. And they're going to kill her. So why not just kill her now? So they take the wife for experiments. While he's in the Huskow, they throw a shoebox in, which has got something of, we can imagine it's one of her body parts. They keep him alive because they need workers, And finally, the Allies come, and the Nazis are finished. So, of course, came to America, and just you can imagine that whole thing. His whole life has been just bitter hatred. And now he has this chance, he thinks, because he finds out from the fortune teller that he can kill his daughter, the reincarnated version of his daughter, and end her suffering, because she's supposedly fated to suffer even worse than his daughter did. And also he could kill the guy who's reincarnated as Hitler. Stop that too. But he loses his nerve. Look at that. That's a nice panel. Elias still had some gumption in him. He throws the gun away. And she says, the Fuhrer understands that the next time the world won't be so easily deceived by the rantings of a murderously clever mind, which is why he was returned to this world in the most innocent guise imaginable. So that little girl wasn't actually the reincarnation of his daughter. It was Hitler. So that's how Hitler came back, as a cute little girl. And kind of silly, kind of weird. Because, I don't know, first of all, supposedly when you're reincarnated, you don't remember your past life. You might not be the same person. But also the really silly thing is Hitler was pretty bad by anyone's reckoning. You'd think he'd come back as a slug or I don't know, a dung beetle. But he gets to come back as a cute little white girl in suburban America. You'd not think that's the fate of Hitler. Hitler's soul. He doesn't really deserve that. So that's it for this issue. Epic number 23. I hope you liked it. I hope you lingered and paused over that John Bolton art. Because it is some luscious, beautiful stuff. But I'm glad you watched it. And hopefully I'll see you here next time at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.